started. Welcome to my intuitive eating masterclass. My name is Sarah, and I'm an intuitive eating registered dietitian. I practice exclusively in the anti-diet space, which means that I will never put you on a diet and I won't tell you what you can or can't eat. Today, we're going to be talking about what intuitive eating is and what you can expect from that process. So, the term intuitive eating has been around since 1995, and you may have seen it floating around on the internet a lot more as of late. But a lot of social media influencers have kind of co opted the language of intuitive eating and turned it into a diet, and a diet it is not. So, I want to give a little background on the concept of intuitive eating, and then I'll get into a definition. So, we're actually all born intuitive eaters. And I'll give an example of feeding a child to demonstrate this. Like, have you ever tried to get a child to eat when they're not hungry? They just simply won't do it. And same with when they're hungry, they're gonna let you know. They're gonna scream and cry and say, "Mama, I want a snack," or whatever they do. So they're really good at listening to their body signals when they're hungry and when they're full, and they'll let you know. But along the way, messages of "you're too big" or "you take up too much space" creep in, and that's really the work of diet culture. And if this is the first time that you're hearing the term diet culture, let me just explain what that is. So I've got a definition of diet culture from Christy Harrison, and she's another registered dietitian who works in the anti-diet and intuitive eating space. And so diet culture is a system of beliefs that worships thinness and equates it to moral virtue, promotes weight loss as a means of attaining higher status, demonizes certain ways of eating while elevating others, and oppresses people who don't match up with its supposed picture of health. And diet culture is really the sea that we're all swimming in. So it's unavoidable, it's all around us, but sometimes it can really kind of be sneaky. And some sneaky ways that diet culture can show up in your life is dieting in the name of health. So I'm avoiding added sugars because it's not good for me. Or like I'm I'm doing intermittent fasting because it's supposed to help with weight loss and that will make me healthy, or whatever the belief may be. But that really goes back to the point of diet culture oppressing people that don't match up with with what it views as healthy. And that's really the idea that people aren't matching up, their body type is not matching up with that unattainable thin ideal that we see plastered all over social media and all over movies and magazines and such. And that's really so harmful for both our mental and physical health. So, in that light, excuse me, intuitive eating is really a dynamic mind body integration of instinct, emotion, and rational thought. It's a personal process of honoring your health by paying attention to the messages of your body and meeting both your physical and emotional needs. And it's really an inner journey of discovery that puts you front and center, because really you're the expert of you. Only you know your thoughts and your feelings and your experiences. And similarly, only you know when you're hungry, when you're full, or even what foods are going to satisfy you in the moment. And no diet or lifestyle plan or cleanse or even a coach, no one else could possibly ever know those things because they're not you. And they've not had any of your experiences. So this is a concept that you'll hear from me a lot. Curiosity, not judgment. Let's get curious. I want you to take a look at some of these judgment statements, and we're going to reframe these thoughts. So the first statement is, I can't stop obsessing over food. That sounds pretty judgmental, right? Like, oh, I can't stop obsessing over food. What's wrong with me? I can't stop thinking about food. I think about food all the time. I'm looking at magazines and blogs and recipes, and I can't stop. Well, let's get curious. Why are you thinking about food all the time? When is the last time you ate? A hallmark of dieting is thinking about food all the time. I mean, really, the last time you were on a diet, do you remember obsessively looking for recipes or thinking about, ooh, what am I going to eat next? Or what am I going to have for dinner? What should I have for snack? It's all you think about because you're not getting enough food. So let's look at the next statement. I ate a donut. I really screwed up. I'm such a failure. This is dripping with judgment. Holy cow, it's just a donut. But people think like this a lot, and I'll venture a guess and say that some of you have had a similar thought to this as well. Like, oh man, I broke my diet. I ate that bagel, I ate that donut, whatever it may be, and you are just beating yourself up about it. Let's reframe this. Let's get curious. Why do I feel donuts are so bad for me? Who said that? Why do I believe that? Who told me that I'm a failure for making a mistake? And why is eating a donut a mistake? It tasted really good. That can't be a mistake, right? I ate a donut with my partner. We went out for breakfast and the donuts looked really yummy. So that's what I chose to eat, and it was delicious. But ooh, I feel guilty. Why do we feel guilty? Who told me donuts were bad? So it's that constant reframing of these judgmental statements that's really going to help you get through that judgment. It's so important to give yourself grace throughout this whole process and really to speak kindly to yourself. I think we've heard so much lately about affirmations, positive affirmations, and how much they can really help um, and be a positive influence on your life. And this is the same kind of thing. Like if you're always speaking to yourself in a critical tone or judging yourself for things that you're doing, you're never going to feel good about yourself. So it's really important to, like I said, just give yourself a lot of grace and speak kindly to yourself. Okay. And I'd like to pose this question to you. What does healthy mean to you? And where did that definition come from? So here we're really going to get curious about this. I told you you're going to hear that a lot from me. So we're going to get curious about what is health? What does healthy mean to you? And you don't have to answer that right now, but I would like you to think on it and really kind of evaluate your intentions behind that too. Like if you think that exercising 7 days a week is super healthy for you, then I would like you to ask yourself then, where did I get this belief? And is that what I really think? And yes, exercise is great for you. There's so many health benefits, but do you feel like you have to exercise? Do you feel guilty for not exercising? That's what I mean when I say think about your intention behind your definition of healthy. And I want to do a little bit of a reality check on dieting. I know that there's so many enticing diets out there, and it's so easy to get sucked into wanting to lose weight for whatever reason you may have. Sorry if you hear my dog down here. So the harsh reality of dieting is diets don't work and they cause harm. The diet and weight loss industry makes $72 billion a year preying on people like you and like me. I was in your shoes too. I did plenty of diets and took supplements and whatever, anything on the market because I felt like I need to lose weight. And they do that on purpose. They're very, very good at marketing and very good at sales. And they have repeat customers come back again and again and again. And why that is because your body fights so hard against weight loss. So maybe you've been on a diet. You're probably saying like, oh, diets don't work. Well, I've lost weight on a diet. Okay, that may be true. But did you gain that weight back? The answer is probably yes. From the research, we know that over 2/3 of people who go on a diet and lose weight will regain that weight, and oftentimes more within 5 years of going off of whatever diet plan that they are on. So when you say that the diet works, does it really? If the diet worked, you would still be on it. So what happens when you diet, there's a lot of really complex physiological things happening in your body that are causing you to regain the weight that you've lost. I know that can be so frustrating to people, like, oh, I worked so hard on this diet and now I'm gaining all this weight back. Like, what is the deal? Why is this happening? And I'll tell you why that's happening. So when you go on a diet, you lose weight, your metabolism slows down because you weigh less. You need less food to satisfy your body's energy requirement. And then you start to gain that weight back as you start to eat the foods that you previously did. And then your metabolism is slower than it was before. So you end up gaining and gaining and gaining. And another thing that happens, there's a lot of interplay with your hormones during weight loss and weight regain. So when you're on a diet, the hormones that signal your appetite are increased because your body is trying to do everything it can to regain that weight because it thinks that you are starving and it wants to save you. So also the hormones that are controlling your fullness signals are diminished. So you don't really feel full as much anymore. And it's a lot easier to ignore those feelings. That's another way that your body is trying to get you to eat more to save your life. And another thing that happens when you're dieting, you are restricting your food intake. Let's say, I'm not going to mention specific calorie numbers in case that's triggering for anybody, but let's just say that you're severely restricting your intake and your body is like, whoa, what is happening? We're starving, we're in a famine, something is happening, I need to protect us. The enzymes that your body produces to convert the foods that you eat into fat increase. So that means whatever you're eating when you're on a diet, your body's like, oh my God, yes, food is coming in. Now I need to take every bit of this that I can and convert it into fat and store that for as long as possible so we don't die. It's really a matter of survival. Your brain is wired to be like, oh no, we got to keep this girl alive. So you really can't fight Mother Nature as hard as some people do try. You just can't do it. So the harms to your body from dieting is that it increases the risk of weight gain and weight regain. So like I was saying before, the research shows us that over 2/3 of people who go on a diet and lose weight will within 5 years regain that weight and oftentimes more weight. Your metabolism slows down. Remember what I said, when you lose weight, you need less food to meet your energy requirements of your body. But then when you start eating normally again, your metabolism stays at that lower rate. And that causes you to regain weight. Dieting also increases your risk of heart disease, bone fractures from osteoporosis, loss of muscle mass, high blood pressure, and chronic inflammation. And the risk of heart disease one is a pretty serious one. So when you regain weight after you've been on a diet, the weight distribution also changes. So where the weight is deposited when you start regaining is typically going to be in your abdominal region. And we know from the research that increased abdominal fat is a risk factor for heart disease. So it is serious. And not only harm to your body, there's also harm to your mental health from dieting. So dieting increases the risk of eating disorders and disordered eating, because dieting itself is a form of disordered eating, right? You're restricting your intake. You are perhaps eliminating certain foods or food groups. So those are all types of disordered eating. But eating disorders can truly be life-threatening. So that's a bit of harm to your mental health and harm to your body too. And in addition, dieting contributes to body dissatisfaction, reduced self-esteem, and feeling like a failure. But think about it. Think about the last time you were on a diet. How did you feel? Did you feel happy and satisfied? Or did you feel hungry and tired and disappointed in yourself that you're not doing as well as you thought you would? Probably didn't feel very good, did it? So there is a lot of harm that comes to you with dieting, and I did want to point that out because my philosophy is that I truly cannot ethically put anyone on a diet because I know the risks of dieting, and now you know the risks of dieting. So I do hope that you take that seriously, and maybe share with your friends too that that insist on trying to lose that weight. I do want to put a caveat in here that I work in the anti-diet space, right? But I am not anti people wanting to lose weight. I do want to put that out there because I know that in this space it can kind of seem like I demonize weight loss, but it's the intentional pursuit of weight loss that is so harmful to your body. And there's an idea out there in research called set point theory. I have a blog post on that as well, so I can link to that for you if you'd like to take a look at that. But the idea of set point theory is that once you start to trust your body again and get reacquainted with that inner intuitive eater, your body will naturally find the weight that it's meant to be at. So your set point weight, there's researchers say that there's about a 5 to 20 pound weight range that you could be in within your set point range. That is really easy for you to maintain. You don't have to work very hard to maintain that weight. You don't have to restrict any of your food intake. You don't have to exercise like crazy. It's just really easy, really comfortable, and that's where your body wants to stay at. So my point is, I am not against people wanting to lose weight because, like I said, we are all swimming in the sea of diet culture, and it's really impossible to not want to lose weight at some point in your life, right? It just that is our culture, unfortunately, and I am trying, and my colleagues are trying to change that so that future generations of people don't have to be on diets for decades of their life. So I did just want to discuss that a little bit. So let's get into the 5 stages of intuitive eating. And these are the stages that you're going to go through throughout the whole process. And I did want to mention that these stages are pretty fluid. So you may progress through these in a linear fashion, or you may go back and forth, and that's totally normal and expected, excuse me. So the first stage is called readiness. And I imagine that this is the stage you're in right now since you're attending this masterclass. And you've probably hit diet bottom. So you've tried everything out there. You're so tired. You've done all the things. Nothing has worked for you. Something's got to happen. Something's got to change. Like, you can't keep going this way. Just can't do another diet. But maybe you've even forgotten how to eat. Like, I don't even know how to eat anymore. That's the stage of readiness. The second stage is exploration, and this is the fun stage. So this will be a stage of conscious learning and your pursuit of pleasure from food. In this stage, you give yourself unconditional permission to eat whatever you want. And I know that can sound kind of scary, but it's so important to the process to really give yourself permission to eat literally whatever you want, except obviously in the case of a food allergy. We definitely don't want anyone who has like a peanut allergy to be eating jars of peanut butter. Like, that's obviously, we don't want that. But also in this stage, you're rebuilding positive food experiences. You'll probably be eating more play foods. I purposely say play foods instead of junk food because I don't want to put a negative connotation on any kind of food. They're just a little less nutrient dense than other foods. So you will probably be eating more of those play foods, and you may not feel your best. I want to put that out there and be completely transparent about that. You may not feel awesome during this stage, but this won't be your eating pattern forever. You're just kind of like exploring different foods that you haven't had in a long time. And really, you're making up for years, if not decades, of deprivation. So you're gonna probably be eating more cookies and ice cream and chips and whatever your fear foods are, foods that you're like, oh, I can't eat that. I can't eat that. That's bad for me. Those are the kind of foods that you're going to be eating throughout this stage. The third stage is crystallization. So you'll find that in this stage, your food choices and your response to your body's signals are a bit more intuitive. You'll have a greater sense of trust in your body to tell you what it needs. And you honor your hunger most of the time, and you're continuing to make peace with food. So this is just kind of like it says, crystallization. It's crystallizing those experiences that you had in the exploration stage. The fourth stage is the intuitive eater awakens. Ooh, fun. So in this stage, you'll continually choose what you really want to eat when you're hungry, because you know that you can have more food whenever you're hungry. You don't have to overeat. You don't have to clean your plates because you'll never get it again. You can have whatever food you want whenever you want. So you're able to choose more of what you want. You also may find that you're choosing more nutrient dense foods, not because you think you should though, but because you feel better when you eat them. So remember when I said, think about your intention behind your choices and your intention behind your definition of healthy. We're going back to that intentionality here. And you may find that you want to eat a salad because, oh, that crunchy lettuce is so good and it just really hits the spot. But you're not eating a salad because you think that that's the right thing to do. And this is such an important part of the stage. You've stopped being angry with your body and making disrespectful comments about it. It's so important to speak nicely to ourselves. And I know that sounds kind of woo-woo and like silly, but the way that you speak to yourself impacts the way that you show up in the world. It's so important to be nice to yourself. And then 5 is the final stage. Treasure the pleasure. This is the fun stage. So in this stage, you'll trust your body's intuitive abilities fully. It's going to be easy to honor your hunger and respect your fullness. You will not feel any guilt for your food choices, and you will be free from dieting forever. You got it. And like I said, you may move down the line through these stages. You may bounce back and forth, but that's okay. And that's totally normal. I did want to touch on the first principle of intuitive eating because this is the hardest one and it's also the most important. And that is ditch the diet mentality. So just to give you a little bit of info about this, the diet mentality is diet culture telling you you need to go on a diet because you don't fit in my picture of health. You don't fit in my definition of healthy, diet culture's definition of healthy. And you don't look the way that I want you to look. You don't look like that model. And that's wrong. So I want you to get angry. Yep. Get really angry. Get angry at diet culture for lying to you and for telling you that you don't deserve happiness, love, success in your career, or you don't deserve to get the surgery that you need. You don't deserve to get whatever healthcare that you need because you're too big. Let that sink in. Get mad. I'm mad for you. I'm mad at diet culture about that. And they don't get to get away with it. So diet culture is telling you all of this stuff. You're too big. You take up too much space. It's wearing you down. It's getting you to feel bad about yourself as a person. And it's just not true. They are lying to you. You are perfectly worthy just the way that you are. Something that I think is really interesting is the concept of body diversity, and it's something that is just not talked about in any media outlet. And that's the idea that bodies come in all shapes and sizes. I know it sounds kind of simplistic to say, but like they do. Like there are people that are on the thin end of the spectrum, people that are on the heavy end of the spectrum, and just because a person is in a larger body does not mean that they aren't healthy or that they cannot be healthy. You will see a lot of influencers that will tell you otherwise, but I'm here to tell you that anyone can be healthy at any size. This is a concept called health at every size, and it's a movement within the social justice and healthcare space that is really trying to equalize opportunities for people in all body sizes and shapes. And it's the idea that, like I said, anyone in any body at any size can be healthy and deserves access to healthcare. So if you want more resources on that, just let me know and I can point you in the right direction. It's a very wonderful thing. And if you can, I would ask your providers if they are aligned with health at every size. And if they say no, think about getting a different provider because it's so important. And then second, another big part of the ditching the diet mentality principle number 1 is you got to let go of your weight loss goal. If you keep that goal in the back of your mind, intuitive eating is not going to work for you because you always have that thought of, well, maybe I could lose like 5 pounds or whatever. And that is going to sabotage your efforts to eat intuitively because then you're not really able to make that choice of what do I really want to eat in this moment? What is going to satisfy me? What do I feel like eating? What is going to get me through to my next meal? Whatever your motivation is for eating in that moment, you will not be able to choose exactly what you want because there's always that little caveat in the back of your mind saying, well, I should probably choose a salad. If I'm going to lose that 5 pounds, I should probably skip the onion rings. I should probably do the grilled chicken instead of the crispy. It's always going to be there. The only way for you to move through this entire process and to really, truly get food freedom is to let go of that weight loss goal. And I will tell you that some people throughout intuitive eating, throughout the process, some people do lose weight. Some people stay the same and some people gain weight. It all goes back to that idea that I mentioned about the set point theory. So once you start eating intuitively, you eat, you trust that your body is going to tell you exactly what you need in that moment at that meal. Body's so smart. If you trust what your body is saying and eat accordingly, then your body weight will normalize and it will get to that set point weight, the weight that you are meant to be at based on your genetics, based on, and there's lots of different things at play that go into your weight, but genetics is a huge one. That's the majority. I will just say that. So eating in this way, your weight will normalize. And whatever that happens to be is where you're meant to be at. I know that's a really tough pill to swallow for some people because our diet culture, this entire world is telling them and has told them forever that you need to be smaller. But it's just not true. You are perfect just the way you are. You are perfect if you lose weight with intuitive eating. You are perfect if you gain weight. You are perfect if you stay at that same weight. So You gotta let go of that goal of weight loss in order to be successful with intuitive eating. I don't even want to say successful because there is no success or failure, pass fail, whatever with intuitive eating. It's all a learning process. But it's going to be so much easier for you to trust your body and really get in touch with that inner intuitive eater, that the way that you used to eat when you were a child. It's going to be so much easier if you let go of that goal of weight loss. Otherwise, like I said, it's always going to be there, and it's always going to be the driver for your food choices. So this is why principle number 1 is so difficult. And that's why I wanted to mention it in this masterclass, because if you can get started on working on that, then you're going to definitely be ahead of the game. So let's get into my 5 tips to get started with intuitive eating. Number 1, get rid of the dieter's tools. Get rid of your scales, your measuring cups, unless you really like to bake, keep those, but only use them for baking. Get rid of your calorie or macro tracking apps. MyFitnessPal, gone. Fitbits, Apple Watches, use them to tell the time if you'd like, but ditch the step trackers. Oh, they just cause so much guilt and shame. The diet books and magazines, throw them out. Donate them if you want, but preferably throw them away, burn them so that no one else has to endure that torture. Weight loss supplements or teas, get rid of them. We don't need them. Tip number 2, cultivate self-compassion. Remember, get curious. Curiosity, not judgment. Intuitive eating is not pass or fail. It's a learning experience, and it's so important to give yourself grace. Tip number 3 is practice food neutrality. So we're going to remove judgment and morality from food. There is no good or bad, healthy or unhealthy. Take those words out of your vocabulary. Let's learn some different words to describe our food. Number 4, give yourself unconditional permission to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, however much you want. Except in the case of a food allergy, like we said before, if you are allergic to peanuts, please do not eat jars of peanut butter. Thank you. This one is huge. This one is so important, because when you give yourself unconditional permission to eat, it's helping you rebuild the trust within your body, and it's helping you to rebuild positive experiences with food. It's so important. And tip number 5 is the big one. Let go of your goal of weight loss. I challenge you to get curious about your beliefs about weight loss. Really dig deep and say, okay, why do I feel like I need to lose weight? Who's told me that? Why do I believe them? Where is this coming from? And maybe, maybe take a look at it as like, what do I fantasize my life would be like if I lost all this weight? And then what's stopping you from doing those things in your life right now? Why aren't you going after that promotion at work? You want to wait until you lose 20 pounds? Why aren't you going on that vacation? Because you think you don't look good in a bikini? Who said that? Why do you believe them? Holding on to that fantasy of weight loss, it's going to keep you stuck in that diet mentality, and it will sabotage your progress with intuitive eating. It gotta let go of that goal of weight loss. I know it's so hard. It's so hard, but that is the key. So thank you so much for sticking around this long. I really appreciate it. This has been so much fun. I do have a few special bonuses. So these are, you can, a little tongue-tied here. You can get my Food Freedom Workbook. If you want to drop your email in the chat, I can get that sent out to you right away. I created this to help you determine your starting point with intuitive eating. There's some questions to answer in there, and then also some journal prompts to help you assess your goals and your intentions. I can also send you my 5 tips to get started with intuitive eating as a downloadable PDF. This is going to be really helpful to print out and just post on your wall, put it in your car, wherever, like in your closet, wherever you go often, just so you can see it and really think about it. Because if it's not in the front of your mind, you're gonna forget about it. So I'll send that to your email as well. So like I said, drop your email in the chat and then I can get that sent out to you. And then lastly, this offer is good until the end of the week, until Friday the 14th. I'm offering $150 off of my 3-month coaching program. And this program is designed to help guide you through the intuitive eating process and reclaim your life from diet culture. It's 3 weeks. You have 8 sessions with me. It can be done in person at my studio in Dundee, Wisconsin. Locals, you know where I am. And then I also do virtual appointments via Zoom. So there's options for everybody. The regular price is $975, so $325 a month. But the sale price is down to $825, again, for that 3-month coaching program. So if you are interested in that, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, this is my contact information. You can email me at sarah@sarahflitternutrition.com. I'm on Facebook at Sarah Flitter RD, and you can also reach me by phone at 920-238-5440. Like I said, I do have a physical space in Dundee where we can meet in person. Otherwise, I do virtual appointments as well. And if you have any questions, you can go ahead and let me know right now. Otherwise, feel free to contact me after this and I can help get your questions answered. And these are some references from the presentation. So I hope everybody enjoyed this masterclass. Thank you so much for spending the last 45 minutes with me. It went a little bit longer than I anticipated, so I appreciate everybody sticking around. I hope that you guys have a really great evening, and thanks for coming. I hope to see you soon.